Chosen one, someone's watching you right now, not your phone, not the government. This is personal, invasive, and deadly desperate. Every agent sent to observe you has quit, shattered. One said, "I can't do this anymore." Why? Because watching you destroys people, mentally, spiritually, completely. If you've ever felt eyes on you, if people around you act weird, obsessed, then vanish. This video explains everything, not just surveillance, but why your presence disturbs their whole reality, and why they can't stop watching you, but can't survive staying near you either. The assignment that destroys Sierra's. Let me paint you a picture. There's a room somewhere, doesn't matter where, filled with people whose job it is to understand patterns, predict behavior, and catalog human nature. They have files on millions of people, thick folders, digital profiles, psychological assessments, but there's one file that keeps getting passed around. One case that no investigator wants to touch twice. Your file, the first agent assigned to. You lasted 3 weeks, professional, experienced, confident. The kind of person who'd successfully profiled serial killers, infiltrated criminal organizations, studied cult leaders. But after 3 weeks of observing you, they submitted a 2-word resignation. "I quit." No explanation, no debrief. Just gone. The second agent was brought in specifically because they were known for handling difficult cases. Lasted 6 days. Their final report, before requesting immediate reassignment, contained one sentence: "This subject operates outside all known behavioral frameworks." Now here's where it gets interesting for you personally. Have you ever noticed how certain people in your life seem to study you intensely, then suddenly distance themselves? Your boss who seemed obsessed with your methods, then stopped giving you challenging projects? That friend who constantly asked about your perspective, then went silent? The family member who used to probe into your personal life, then became strangely respectful of your boundaries? They weren't just being nosy. They were unconsciously trying to crack your code. And when they couldn't, when your energy started affecting them instead of the other way around, they backed off. Fast. But what exactly are they seeing that makes trained professionals quit their careers rather than continue watching you? The answer involves 3 psychological phenomena that most people don't even know exist. The mirror effect. Why they see themselves when they look at you. First phenomenon is called the mirror effect. And this is where things get deeply personal. For anyone watching you, imagine you're a spy, trained to remain detached, analytical, invisible. Your job is to observe without being observed, to study without being affected. You've done this hundreds of times before, but this time is different. From day one of watching you, something feels off. You're not performing like most people do. Most humans have a public self and a private self, different masks for different situations. But you're the same person alone in your apartment as you are in a boardroom. The same energy making breakfast as you have during a crisis. That consistency starts to unnerve them. Because most people's jobs, relationships, even their own self-image depends on being able to shift, adapt, perform different roles. But you're just you. Unapologetically, consistently, powerfully you. Think about the last time someone accused you of being too much, or too intense, or too serious, or even too happy. What they were really saying is, "Your consistency makes me uncomfortable with my own inconsistency." But here's the part that breaks surveillance agents. Your energy forces them to confront their own authenticity. When they watch you make decisions from inner knowing rather than external pressure, it highlights every time they've compromised their own values. When they see you comfortable in silence, it makes them aware of how much noise they use to avoid their own thoughts. The mirror effect means that the longer they watch you, the more they're actually watching themselves. And for someone trained to remain invisible, suddenly being visible to themselves is terrifying. Have you ever had someone become inexplicably hostile toward you, even though you've done nothing to them? That's the mirror effect in action. Your authenticity is reflecting their performance, and they can't handle what they see. But the mirror effect is just the beginning. The second phenomenon is even more disturbing to those watching you. The frequency disruption. How your energy scrambles their SYSTM. The second phenomenon sounds like science fiction, but it's documented in psychological surveillance reports that most people will never see. It's called frequency disruption. Every human being operates at a certain energetic frequency. Most people's frequencies are chaotic, spiking with anxiety, dropping with depression, fluctuating with every external circumstance. This makes them predictable, readable, controllable. But your frequency? It's stable, unnaturally stable. And that stability has an unusual effect on the people around you. Let me tell you what happens to a surveillance agent assigned to you. Day 1. They set up their equipment. Cameras, audio devices, digital trackers. Everything works perfectly. Day 2. They begin detailed observation. Still normal. But by day 3, something strange starts happening. Their equipment begins malfunctioning. Not obviously, just small glitches. Audio that cuts out at crucial moments. Cameras that mysteriously refocus. Digital files that corrupt for no technical reason. But it's not just the equipment. The agent themselves starts experiencing disruptions. They sleep poorly. They have vivid dreams. They find themselves thinking about conversations you've had, decisions you've made, even when they're off duty. Now, if you're someone who's noticed that technology seems to glitch around you more than around other people, if electronics malfunction in your presence, if people often say they had strange dreams after spending time with you, this isn't coincidence. Your stable frequency acts like a tuning fork. When people with chaotic frequencies get close to you, their energy tries to match yours. But most people's systems can't handle that level of stability. It's like forcing a phone designed for 3G to run 5G. It overloads. This is why some people feel incredibly peaceful around you, while others feel inexplicably agitated. This is why some people seek you out when they're in crisis, while others avoid you when they're living in chaos. For a surveillance agent whose job requires maintaining emotional detachment and mental clarity, this frequency disruption is career-ending. They can't remain objective when your energy is actively harmonizing their internal chaos. But there's a third phenomenon that's even more disturbing to those trying to track you. And this one explains why some agents don't just quit, they disappear entirely. The activation protocol when watching you awaken something in tank. Third phenomenon is the most dangerous for anyone assigned to monitor you. It's called the activation protocol. There are certain people in this world who carry what I call awakening energy. Their presence doesn't just affect others, it activates dormant aspects of consciousness, spiritual gifts, psychic abilities, deep knowing, things that most people have shut down since childhood. You are one of these people. Here's what happens to an agent assigned to watch you for extended periods. At first, it's just increased intuition. They start knowing things they shouldn't know, predicting outcomes, sensing when someone is lying. This might seem helpful for their job, but it's actually terrifying, because once these abilities activate, they can't be shut off. And suddenly, this person who is trained to follow orders, trust authorities, and never question the system, starts questioning everything. They begin to see through the lies they've been told. They recognize the manipulation in their own organization. They understand, sometimes in a single moment of clarity, that they've been working for the wrong side. If you've ever had someone completely change their opinion about you after spending extended time in your presence, if you've watched people go from skeptical to protective, from dismissive to devoted, if you've noticed that people either love you intensely or fear you completely with very little middle ground, you're witnessing the activation protocol in real time. For surveillance agencies, this is a nightmare scenario. They send in one person to monitor you, and they lose that person to awakening. Not physically, though sometimes that happens too, but psychologically and spiritually. Think about the people in your life who started as strangers, maybe even adversaries, but who now would defend you with their lives. Think about the unexplained loyalty you inspire in certain individuals. That's not just charisma. That's activation. Your energy awakens people to their own truth. And once someone sees their own truth clearly, they can never go back to living lies. Now these three phenomena, the mirror effect, frequency disruption, and activation protocol, explain why individual agents can't handle tracking you. But there's something even bigger happening here. Something that reveals why you're not just difficult to monitor, you're impossible to control. The control matrix, and why you break. I tell you about the control matrix. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's a psychological framework that governs how most human behavior is managed and predicted. The matrix operates on 5 basic human needs: security, approval, control, stimulation, and meaning. Most people can be influenced by threatening or promising any of these 5 things. Threaten someone's security, they become compliant. Promise approval, they become eager to please. It's simple behavioral psychology, but you operate outside this matrix entirely. They can't threaten your security because your security doesn't come from external circumstances. It comes from internal knowing. They can't promise you approval because you're not seeking validation from others. You're seeking alignment with something higher. They can't control you because you're not trying to control anything yourself. They can't overstimulate you because you find fulfillment in simplicity. And they can't offer you meaning because you've already found it. Have you ever been in a situation where someone tried to manipulate you with fear, and you just felt nothing? Where someone offered you something everyone else wanted, and you genuinely didn't care? Where people tried to pressure you into decisions, and you remained perfectly calm? That's not stubbornness. That's not even strength. That's operating from a completely different paradigm. For surveillance operations, this creates an impossible situation. How do you control someone who isn't motivated by the things that control everyone else? How do you predict the behavior of someone who doesn't operate from fear, greed, or ego? This is why people often describe you as unpredictable, even though you're actually very consistent. Your consistency just isn't based on external factors. They can see or manipulate. Think about the times people have accused you of being stubborn, when you were actually just being principled. Think about when they called you unrealistic, when you were actually operating from a different reality. But here's where this gets really interesting. Because when conventional surveillance fails, they have to try unconventional methods. And that's when things get personal. The human surveillance network, when they use your loved ONES. When traditional surveillance fails, they resort to human intelligence. They recruit people from your existing network: family members, friends, co-workers, romantic partners. Now, before you start questioning everyone in your life, understand this. Most of these people don't even know they're being used. They're not evil. They're not conspiring against you. They're being subtly influenced to pay attention to specific aspects of your life. It starts innocently. Someone in your circle begins asking slightly more probing questions than usual. They show unusual interest in your schedule, your projects, your emotional state. They might frame it as concern, curiosity, or even admiration. But there's a quality to these interactions that feels off. The questions are too specific. The interest feels manufactured. The timing is too convenient. Have you ever had a period where multiple people in your life suddenly became very interested in the same aspects of your personal business? Where conversations kept steering toward the same topics? Where you felt like you were being interviewed rather than having natural conversations? That's not paranoia. That's pattern recognition. But here's what's fascinating. Even this method fails when it comes to you. Because the same phenomena that affect professional agents also affect recruited civilians. The mirror effect, frequency disruption, the activation, protocol. Your family member who is supposed to be gathering information starts defending you instead. Your friend who is influenced to create drama starts protecting your peace. Your coworker who was meant to undermine you begins advocating for you. Think about the people who came into your life suspicious or skeptical, but who now are among your most loyal supporters. Think about those who initially seemed to be working against your interests, but who eventually became protective of you. This isn't just because you're a good person. This is because your energy transforms people. It activates their conscience. It awakens their integrity. It reminds them who they really are beneath all the programming. For the organizations trying to monitor you, this is terrifying. Not only can they not gather reliable intelligence about you, but they're losing assets to your influence. People they thought they could control are being awakened by your presence. But there's something even more disturbing happening. Because when both professional surveillance and human intelligence fail, desperate measures are taken. And that's when you start experiencing what I call the pressure campaign. The pressure campaign. When they try to break wile you when they can't track you, can't read you, can't control you, and can't recruit people against you, there's only one option left. Direct pressure designed to make you crack. The pressure campaign isn't random hardship. It's systematic. It's designed to push you toward emotional reactions that would make you readable, manipulable, controllable. If you've experienced a period where everything seemed to go wrong at once, where opportunities disappeared, relationships became strained, financial problems emerged, health issues surfaced, and it all felt too coordinated to be coincidence, you weren't imagining it. The pressure campaign operates on the theory that everyone has a breaking point. Apply enough stress from enough directions, and eventually even the strongest person will revert to basic survival instincts. Fear, anger, desperation. But here's what they didn't account for. You don't break under pressure. You transform. Every attempt to weaken you made you stronger. Every effort to isolate you deepened your connection to something greater. Every attack on your character clarified your values. Every loss revealed what truly matters. Think about who you were before the pressure started and who you are now. Think about the strength you discovered you had. Think about the peace you found in chaos. Think about the clarity that emerged from confusion. They didn't just fail to break you. They accidentally forged you into something unbreakable. And that's when the surveillance operations don't just fail, they're abandoned entirely. Because at this point, the people assigned to monitor you have realized something terrifying. You're not the one being tested. They are. Which brings us to the final truth about why they can't stop watching you, but also can't handle the assignment. The final truth. You're not the subject. You're the testers. The final truth that breaks surveillance operations. You're not the subject of their investigation. You're the test of their character. Every person sent to monitor you is actually being evaluated by their response to your energy. Every agent assigned to track you is really being sorted into those who can handle truth and those who cannot. Your presence reveals who people really are beneath their roles, their training, their programming. You don't do this intentionally. It's just the natural effect of your energy field. Think about how consistently you've been able to identify people's true character, often within minutes of meeting them. Think about how rarely you've been surprised by someone's eventual actions, even when everyone else was shocked. That's not intuition. That's your energy forcing authenticity to the surface. For surveillance operations, this creates an impossible situation. They send people to test you, but you end up testing them. They assign agents to break you down, but you end up building them up, or revealing that they can't be built up. You are a walking integrity test, a mobile authenticity detector, a human catalyst for truth. And that's why they can't stop watching you, but they also can't handle watching you. Because every person who gets close enough to truly observe you is forced to choose. Will they align with truth, or will they run from it? Those who choose truth become your greatest allies. Those who run from it become your most vocal critics. But both responses prove the same thing. Your existence is a challenge to everyone who encounters it. A challenge to be better, to be real, to be aligned with something greater than their small self. So if you've been feeling watched, studied, tested, or targeted, if you've noticed patterns of people becoming obsessed with you, then backing away, if you've experienced the strange phenomenon of surveillance that always seems to fail, now you know why. You're not paranoid. You're not imagining things. You're not crazy. You're simply operating at a frequency that disrupts their systems and awakens their consciousness. If this resonated with you, if it explained experiences you've had but couldn't name, then you're part of a growing group of people who are awakening to their true nature. Subscribe to this channel and ring the notification bell, because I'll be sharing more insights about the unique challenges and gifts of high-frequency individuals. In the comments below. Tell me, what was the moment you realized you were being watched or studied by people around you? I read every comment, and your experiences help others realize they're not alone. And if you know someone who's been feeling monitored, observed, or strangely targeted by others, share this video with them. Sometimes just knowing there's an explanation for what they're experiencing can be life-changing. Remember, being watched is proof of your power. Being studied is evidence of your uniqueness. And being impossible to control is confirmation that you're exactly who you're meant to be. Stay aware, stay authentic, and stay powerful. They chose to watch you, but they can't handle what they see. Until next time, keep shining your light so bright that their surveillance equipment can't even focus.